Welcome, viewers, both present and future. My name is David L. Weaver, along with Bill Geltz. We make up the XP Guild. Guess what? Dave's Doodles is now in episode 3. Woohoo! This is going to be a weekly show, guys, on one particular subject that will focus, or I will focus on until it's done, pretty much. Then afterward, we will move on to the next one. So the show will be every Tuesday at the same time, roughly about 30 minutes to an hour, give or take. So this series will be centered around Dungeondraft, our world setting of Umberhaven, and one particular area within said setting. This area came about by players within our second run through our adventure module called the Wilhelm Train Heist. Me and Bill are presently working on it right now, and it will eventually be out, hopefully soon, within at least the next couple months for sure. The particular adventure module second run through will eventually be up on our YouTube channel, so come check that out. We also have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Patreon by the same name, and you can check it out at the links below somewhere down here. Any kind of support would be greatly appreciated, so go like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, join, so on and so forth. So, as far as Dungeondraft, the program, is concerned, that I will be using, we are not affiliated or sponsored by any shape or form from them. Simply, I just like using the program. It's basically really stupid, simple, and easy to use. And it creates basically great looking maps for your gaming experience, no matter what you're using it for the most part. So, let's begin, shall we? So tonight we're going to be focusing on the previous episode that you can actually watch here on Twitch. That I was working on is a Tack/feed store for basically all the farmers that live south of the bridge. And I pretty much stopped on the first floor, so we're going to start working on the second story. And then if we have time, which this show usually runs anywhere almost close to an hour. So if we have time, then I will be building possibly a second building. So one reason why I have it right now on Dungeondraft, the intro page, because they officially launched the new update, and we finally made it into version 1, which, if you've been following along with Dungeondraft, they've been kind of creative with their little sayings. This is Prehistoric Centipede. They had all kinds of like fledgling this and this, that. Yeah, it was fun to watch. Every update had a little saying. So this one's Prehistoric Centipede. With that, let's go ahead and open our Lover's Bridge and Village, and you can see what has been done so far from episode 1 to now. Well, I got it in. So, by the way, lighting, if you have not checked it out, this is what lighting looks like when it is officially turned on. We installed in the first episode 4 lights, so we're just going to turn that off right now because it's really hard to work with. But when we get into lighting the actual Tack and feed store, then I'll show you more on that. So let's go ahead and turn off lighting. So there's what we got so far. There's the bridge itself. There's the Wilhelm train tracks. This is the road basically down here south of this. So where farmers have crops and livestock and anything farmers do is down south. Up here at the top is where we're going to be building the village for the farmers. So, and here is the tack shop we built in episode 2. And if you just go check on that. You can see all the different things. And also another thing that I'm going to be using, if you haven't checked it out, is, or the other 2 videos, is that I'm just using Dungeondraft, the vanilla version. And I'm going to show you little tricks and things that I like to do to build things. Because you can take like various objects and turn them into something completely different. So that if they don't already have that particular object already. So, but maybe later, future episodes, I'll show you assets, which is a totally new ball field and really, really awesome for not only artists, but as well as if you like other things from other artists. I do believe that we included all that information in the first episode on our YouTube channel. So go check that out and you'll see the links and stuff for all that. So let's get started. So now we are moving on to the second floor. So how do you do that? You're like, okay, so it's just one dimension. So over here in this nice little things, you got design, terrain, objects, effects, settings, text, prefabs, and select. Most of this we've already played with, but we have not played with settings yet. This is where we get into the fun area of levels. And this is where you get to design the second floor, essentially. So you click on that, and already we got ground. So all you simply do is just say create, and then you've got a little thing. Yeah, it actually pulled it up. Woohoo! so next level. So I'm just going to say second story, and we don't need to clone anything, and we're going to switch them immediately to the second level, and you'll see what happens when we immediately switch over. So accept, bang, bam, it's blank canvas. Get to start over. Now you're wondering, well, what in the world, or how in the world am I going to do this? So they got this neat little feature down here at the bottom. So it's called compare levels. Click on the little round button, bam, suddenly it pulls up. As you can see, you can kind of see the ground level, and you can adjust that. So we're going to pull this up so you can see what's going on. So if you adjust the occupancy, or probably saying that wrong, I'm horrible about language, by the way, and then you can adjust this, come down, and pretty much you can already see the ground floor. So we're going to go a little bit closer so we can actually see what we're doing. So usually I like to fade it out a little bit, enough so that I can get the basics down, and then we can build from there. So we'll push OK. We're going to zoom in. So now we got the stairwell that pretty much goes up however you want to. We're going to pretty much do it where it's the lighter setting, and the darker setting will be where it drops out on the second floor. So we just simply go back to our building, our design area, go back to building tool, and this is once again going to be wood floor with a wood wall, and we got snap on, so that way we don't have to guess on where things are going to be at. So, and we're just going to simply drag our area over, and bam, there's our wall, and here is our second area, and we're going to include this little first area too. That way we get the full experience of a second floor, and the first floor has a roof. So now we don't really need anything else from comparing levels right now, so we're going to just click that off, and there you go. Well, actually we do need one thing, so we're going to go back and click, and notice you can't really, once you place that floor down, you really can't see too much. So you just crank this puppy up and crank this down, and now you can see it. So pretty much right here, we need to leave like this space open for the, we don't have to leave it completely open. We just need to leave these two squares open. So once again, how you do that, you go ahead and go back to wall, and down here at the bottom, and you just click the X. Pretty much you just do like you do the normal wall, but now how do you get rid of stuff? Okay, so pretty much we know where it's at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how this works. So okay, so we know these two squares need to be gone. So you just go ahead and drag, and then Alt, and notice it turned blue, and this should disappear. Now, mind you, sometimes it has a little glitch, and sometimes the wall actually disappears too, so... And just let go from your mouse key. Yeah, and see. One day, hopefully they'll get that fixed. But it's a simple thing you can get away, or get around. Just go over here to wall, and click on your wooden wall, and just retrace your steps back again. And bam, there's your wall. But there's your... I can't remember what it's called. But, you know, where you look down the stairs and there's the stairs. So, JChill29 says, can you convert this easily to black and white? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I will show you that right now real quick. When you go to printing this, you just push export. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can actually see what's going on. So export, and then you have all these awesome little settings right here. We'll see right here where it says... Okay, so you actually got to push... Oh, yeah. So, let's see. Camera filter, I think it is. Yeah, camera filter. So, print friendly turns into black and white. Or you can do sepia. So most of the time I just leave it on none because I'm using Roll20, stuff like that. So, but yeah, you can definitely do it in black and white. So, okay, well, continuing. You're welcome. So we got our stairs, or we got our hole for our stairs. So I'm thinking some kind of guardrail so the farmer won't fall down in and stuff like that. So the way I do that is come over here to, okay, so Hero 170, he says, or she says, does it only do fantasy? No, it does not, and that's where you get into assets at. Right now, it is set for fantasy, but you can go to assets, and you can merge other artists' objects, and I mean, pretty much anything that they have on here. You can merge it with this program. So, like I said, I do believe it's in the first video over on the YouTube channel. I think Bill has all the links there for the assets. I gave him a few, so, or the websites at least, to go check them out. So, but yeah, they have a ton of stuff as far as assets concerned if you don't want to draw your own stuff. So there you go. So we're gonna just do like railing and stuff like that. I think that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go to objects and object tool, and notice when you go to object tool, like last time, tags, you got all of this stuff that's already built into the program. And like I was talking about asset tools, people's created hundreds upon hundreds of these things. Most of them, amazingly enough, are free. Some of them you have to pay for, but they're not a lot of money. And but yeah, objects, they've created what I was showing you about these walls here. They've created walls, they've created cliffs. I mean, it's nuts of how much they've created for this program, just because they opened this up where you can add stuff to it, which has been hugely awesome. So you got all, which I just showed you, then you got use, and this is all the stuff we've used so far in the build. Then you go to tags. Now it opens up this little area down here, and you've got like custom sets that you can choose from in all these different little areas, or you can just leave it blank and just click on things, and then it'll open that little category of stuff. So right now, we're going to do pillars, or not pillars, but railing. So what I like to do is I like to come over here to pillars and use either a wood or round pillar, but you can see how big it is. And that's another thing that I like to do with objects, is just to turn that snap button off, and you can see how flowy and free it is. Also, if you look really close, you can see a shadow. I don't usually use the shadow, but you could if you wanted to, especially like in caves or dark areas and stuff like that. So, but we're going to turn it off for now. Now, adjusting it, you can either scale it here, or you can alt and mouse wheel it. And when you mouse wheel it, it's pretty much in chunks, so you can see over here this number. But if you want to go more precise, you you just come over here to the scaling part and use the little arrow keys, and now you can get off into like super finite detail. And then you can also mouse wheel it and just rotate it, so on. So like I said, it's super stupid easy to use. Okay, so we're gonna scale this in. Okay, so also you have over and under, so we're gonna leave it on over, and I'm gonna show you what those are. We'll place our post down, and I usually like to do each square is 5 feet, give or take, but you can adjust it however you want to, or you can do this neat little thing and simply go to grid and turn it off, and then you don't have to have a grid at all. And by doing that, I think I haven't played with it yet, but when you export it, they have a feature up here, JPEGs. Well, you got PNG, and you got also universal VTT. I have not done VTT yet, but they also have, let's see, presets. Yeah, under the presets, they got one for Roll20, and then apparently it's supposed to adjust with Roll20 as far as their grid system, but I usually just do it reverse. I turn off Roll20's grid system and use Dungeondraft's grid system. Okay, so now we got a post down for our railing. So I'm going to go to the wood area and click on the plank. And notice it sits on top. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want it like to touch or whatever. So you simply go over here to under, and now it basically moves it underneath whatever you recently put down. So that one's a little bit bigger than that one, so we're going to go ahead and undo that and plop that down here, and then plop that here. Now, you can also do another type of railing, which I'll show you real quick, because maybe you don't like that line right there. You're like, well, it looks kind of wonky, Dave. Or you could move your little post, because notice I don't have the post exactly correct either. So you go over to the select tool, and then you can just grab stuff and move stuff around. On top of that, so let's go ahead and do another one like this, another set of railing, but a little bit differently. Say instead of these posts, you want to do rope. So I'm gonna move this out of the way and go back to path tool and say I want to do a rope. Now I've got it over, so we're gonna do under. And I got the width at 1 and the smoothness at 1. Usually I like to keep the smoothness at 1 if you're doing something new. If you're doing something like super old or whatnot, you can like stagnate it. Or if you get off in the cliffs, you can definitely stagnate it. So I'm going to left click and drag. So that rope is pretty much the right size. But say you wanted like a bigger rope or smaller rope or any size rope besides what I've got right now. So once again, you just move the width however you want to. We'll go down to 50, I think, or 0.5. Ew. And now you can see how tiny it is. And how you make it stop is you just right click it. And you can bend this and stuff like that with, so you hold shift and then curve. Can't remember exactly. It's just, I don't use this particular thing that often. Yep, there it is. So that's how you just kind of left click it around. The second video I'll show you more about that, but yeah. And then it connects together. So I got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. So how do you get rid of that? You just undo. And then you can actually move this stuff back to where it is. Alright, so the next thing is I think we're going to go ahead and put a wall here of some sort. So you come upstairs and you got this area. So let's just go ahead and add a wall. So once again, you've got it. I've got it where it's not snapped. So I think I'm going to turn back on snap and maybe do like and I'm gonna leave it under. Usually I'm gonna turn it off shadow, and probably we're gonna do some kind of wall like in between. So maybe something like that. And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all that real quick. So, okay, so now we got portals. All kinds of different portals, but instead of putting a door here, let's just go ahead and put an open threshold. Voila. Now, mind you, sometimes it does this little maneuver. Once again, I do believe it's glitch. And the way I get around this particular glitch is, I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to undo that. So notice it snapped back, but it's going to do it again. See? So this little glitch, the way I get around that is I come back over here to wall. Wall. Thank Dave. And see this little thing called edge points. Edge points is really, really awesome. And I do believe I showed that to y'all in the second video. I can't remember. But notice it pops up here. So I just grab it. Okay, so it's set to snap. You want to turn snap off. You're going to play around with edge points. Unless if you want it to snap to certain areas and stuff like that. So I turn off edge point. Or snap. And then I can adjust this wall however I want to. Now, by doing it that way and do the other side, I've gotten around that little glitch. You turn off edge point, go back to your portal, and then bam. Perfect wall for the most part. It might be a little crooked, so, but other than that, you know, it's pretty spot on. So we got our threshold. So I think we're going to make this area up here a room. Now here's where it gets weird. Or not weird necessarily, but this is another place where we're going to play with edge point. But I'm going to show you the weird part. If you put on snap, it's going to snap it. But watch the dimensions of the wall itself is going to be larger than this. So once again, how I get around that is edge points, and this is where it gets kind of, okay, turn off snap, and then I just grab that wall and move it up. And usually I like to do these type rooms on that, see that little dotted line where the grid is at, which is really, really helpful when you're playing around with this stuff, if you want to be actually precise with things. So there's our room. Turn that off. We're going to give it pretty much... That's a pretty good sized room if you think about it. It's 5, maybe 9 feet wide. I mean, it's long, but narrow-ish. So we'll give it a double door. And usually how I like to do this is I like to try to get it spot on, closest to the other wall if I can, and that way it blends into that wall right there, and you don't have that weird little metal piece that they've added to that sticking out. So there's one room already. So let's go ahead and add some more rooms, shall we? So maybe this is, like I said, this is upstairs, so maybe that could be their little dining kitchen area since it's on the outer wall. So other than that, let's see, let's go ahead and add maybe a bigger space. Maybe this is a storage area, so we'll build that out. And then we got this room here, so go ahead and build that across. And there we go. There is our upstairs. So from there, let's go ahead and build a kitchen. So once again, we go to objects. We got all kinds of stuff to choose from. We got our wood, which we'll be using. So we can go ahead and just plop that. Usually when I go and build a room, sometimes I like to just plop stuff out here in the dead space, if you can, and then adjust accordingly, and then that way you have all your assets already out. And then you can just plop them into the room or wherever you're plopping them into at. So from there, we got fixtures, and there's one oven. They added these new ovens. I think it wasn't the last one, but I think it was the second one and the one before that. You even get a little Potbelly Stove. So I think we're gonna go, and these are the older ones. This is initially what it came with. So I usually use these suckers for like taverns and stuff. So let's go ahead and maybe do. It's just gonna probably be just the family. So we can get away with the Potbelly Stove, I do believe. Also, that way, I can show you. Do a pretty good size one too. If we have time. If we don't have time, then it'll be the next episode, but I can show you the piping and doing the roof and stuff. So let's go ahead and bring it up out of the wall. We'll do it a little bit bigger. Plop that down. Then we can go ahead and come over here, grab our wood. Okay, so you're thinking to yourself, okay, maybe that's not enough wood for this Potbelly Stove. Maybe I want more. Maybe I want something bigger than that. So we're already in the select area. So you can just select it. And then you can simply drag it and make it bigger or tinier or however you want. As well as, make this probably, well, we'll go ahead and put it back. So, and then how you guys left click. And then if you want to readjust, just undo. And then bam. So say we want to double that. So we just simply left click, drag it over, unclick it, and now we're highlight it. Now we can also move all this around with us, as well as come up here to copy and then paste. And suddenly we got now 2 sets of logs. And then we can like double this over just by laying it over one another. Now you got a really good, nice stack of wood for your Potbelly Stove. We pretty much move that up against the wall. Maybe down here a little bit. And there we go. Now from here, let's say, okay, so we got the Potbelly Stove. Maybe we want to do a table. This is where it gets that I have the most fun at and get a little obsessive with stuff for this program, as some of my players can vouch for that if they're watching. So I'm going to go ahead and put this table over here. So it's going to be a fairly large table, so 5 foot wide. Maybe not that large, but we'll do it about like that. That's a good sized table. Now, we got that down, we got it under. So now it gets the fun little tedious part. I like to put stuff on it to make it look like it's actually being used. And just in case if you have that party of going, well, what's in this room? And then you can tell them, and then if they want to like actually, you know, use their cooking skill or whatever, they have all the stuff out there that is for cooking. It's also great when you do older stuff and you can like throw food down, and then you can come over here and maybe do like cobwebs and make it look like old, like, you know, it hadn't been touched in years and things of that nature. Dead body wrapped up, you know, stuff like that. So like I said, there's tons of stuff you can do with this. So let's do dining. And maybe they got lucky and roasted a pig. So we'll go ahead and put that out. We'll be nice tonight and not go too much detail. So maybe it's their holiday season or something. So we got pig, their family, the extended family's coming over. Got some bread. So let's go ahead, and I usually like to put a chopping board down or something for the bread or serving dishes. You can do all, like I said, you can do all kinds of stuff like that. So you got that. Maybe you got the cutting knife to go along with the bread. And maybe, And that's another thing that I'll show you real quick. Maybe that's some butter or something. Yeah, I use it for various things. And we got some onions going on here. And like I said, you can try to layer stuff as best as you can. Oh, that's another thing I'll show you. Okay, so say I want my onion to be that way. So all you do is press A, and it flips it for you. And then you can lay it down, and notice how it's like not cooperating with the rotation. So say I don't like that way, but I don't like that way. But notice where it says rotation, how much it flips. So you just come over here, make sure you're still holding A, because if you let up on A, it switches back. So you can do this, and notice how it's rotating for you. So now you can lay that onion just like that. Do it the other way too. But once again, I have a tendency to get a little obsessive with this area of like finite stuff when it comes to, you know, placing things down. And detail, mostly detail. Lots of detail. So, alright, so we got that. Let's go ahead and add, oh, I don't know, maybe their version of a fork. Spoon. Like where that fork's at, so move that down. And that's another thing. So I've already played with this. I went to select. I'm like, oh my god, where'd all this stuff go? Once again, super stupid. Easy. Previous. And it jumps right back where you left off at, which is really, really useful. Especially when you get into a lot of detail and a lot of different things. So we'll go ahead and plop that knife down there. Alright, so there's the kitchen table. Or not kitchen table. Yeah, it's kitchen table slash prep table, I guess you would call it. So after that, let's go ahead and put some shelves down in this place. So they added, what was neat, 1.1, I guess you would call it. I'm not too sure. 1.0. They added all these nice cornered shelves and stuff like that, which makes it really, really cool if you're doing shops or libraries and all kinds of stuff like that. So, okay, so what I'm actually looking for is maybe we could do that as a small table, or we could maybe use it as a cupboard. That looks nice. Once again, they added these little things, so let's go ahead and use one. Why not? So let's go ahead and do corner table. Instead, I like to use some of these things as like shelves. Let's do that one. Shrink that down a little bit. Put one there. And yep, that's good. And then we can go over here and select small table. There's another table. Different form, and I'll move it into the wall itself to make it maybe look like it's an actual shelf. And to give it that aspect that it's like actually up in the air, this is what I usually like to do. So let's go over here to barrels. And then you have these giant barrels, various, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, we'll choose barrel because it looks like it's an actual keg of sorts. And then I'll shrink it down. And notice you can either put it on top of there. I'm going to zoom in for y'all guys. So, or I'm going to do it where it's pretty good size, but it's not going to be huge. So we'll just go ahead and lay, why not? Let's just go ahead and lay this on top, and then I'll go ahead and do, I mean, they got two, but we'll do separate barrels where we'll make these pretty good size though. So notice, once again, I can't, but if you do under, and now you can move that puppy underneath. Now here's a neat feature that they've also added to, so I'm going to show you that real quick as well. So now it gives the illusion that you have, and we'll choose another barrel, why not? Maybe we'll do a crate too. So break it up is what I like to do. Yeah, so we'll make that one hang over. Now you've got the illusion that it's not a table. Instead, it's a shelf, or two shelves at the top. And you can even go a step further than this. Now, notice that this is all underneath. So you can go over and put that here. And I do believe this is gonna, don't remember exactly if this works or not. But you click, and then you can send back. I haven't played with the, I've done forward, but I haven't done back. But if not, I'll show you how to use the layers real soon. So click send back. Yeah, so it didn't work. It moved it right underneath the barrel. So the way I used to do this before they added those two little buttons is over here you got layers. So you just mess around with the layers. So shelving unit, usually high is the way I do it. So I usually click on that first, so it's at the use layer. So I move it. See all the different layers here that you can move. You can even move it above the roof and above the walls and stuff like that. Which some things I have moved above the walls. I haven't moved anything above the roof as of lately. So we'll try at 2. And now, and then move this to, let's see if we can do this. Okay, so we'll move this, bring forward. And now you can slip that puppy right underneath. And now you definitely looks like you've got elevation in your unit compared to your table and stuff like that. So that's what you can do on the two-dimensional side of life. So let's go ahead and fill out our shelf unit right here. So we got our drinks, we got our barrels and our crates. So let's add plates. So over here under dining, I do believe. Yeah. So we got our plates, we got our platters. Let's go ahead and add a platter. So now, once again, notice it's above stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and just move this up to the second layer. And notice our barrels are gone. So I'm going to highlight them up. Oh, okay. And then bring them forward. And then move that. Oh, okay. So let's see if I can do this correctly. Sometimes it's fishy, so you got to watch how you highlight stuff. So sometimes, okay, so this is above the side, so we'll go second layer, and then we'll bring forward, and then we'll do the same thing here. Yeah, okay. Move that back there. Move this back down. Okay, so previous platter, and now we need to move this puppy to the second layer. There we go. We'll turn off shadow once it's turn. Yeah, well, shadow was already off. Once again, it's platter, so maybe they have 2 of them. Add some plates. The way I like to stack them, if you stack them just right, you can make it look like there's multiple plates. Do that way, and maybe do another. Actually, instead of doing it that way, undo. Let's go over select. Once again, you can Now, once again, notice it grabbed that table. I've yet to figure out how to grab things just right where it doesn't grab other things. Sometimes you can do it, but a lot of times you can't. So what I just simply do is go off into the blank space, copy, paste, and then delete the table. And now I can go over here to the, if you come out a little bit where you've got the little hand, you can rotate. Usually I like to grab it just right. See, now it's perfect. And there's your double plates. Previous, we'll add some cups. Saucer, big bowl. We'll do, oh, okay, so we'll do these. So notice, so we're going to scale them down for cups. Let's zoom in really. Okay, that's as close as you can zoom in. So we'll go ahead and scale this to 15, maybe? Yeah. Okay, so and the cool thing with certain items on here, they're called colorables. So here you can actually go ahead and change the color of, notice some certain things are changing on this over here. So we'll go ahead and do like a brownish. They're wooden mugs. Put them up next to the drink area. Do like 6 of them. And then we'll go ahead and add maybe some forks. Let's go ahead and add some bigger fork. Usually I like to rotate certain things where it looks, you know, which you don't have to do. I mean, you can do anything you want to with this program, which makes it really, really cool. So anything you do, I mean, it's pretty much, for the most part, unique to your own design, which makes it really awesome. And we'll add maybe like a knife or two. Or 3. There's a kid that they have that they don't want using a knife. Alright, so there's that. Let's go ahead and maybe add, okay, go back to fixtures. Maybe they have a water tub off to the side. Yeah, well, let's go ahead and add, let's see, you walk in, yeah, we'll put it right here. So maybe they have a washing unit. So let's go ahead and build that real quick. So let's go to table. And let's go ahead and I like to use the ones that have the little thingies on the end. Give it more of a table-like shelf. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay, back to fixtures. This is how I build a wash basin area, or something to wash your dishes in. So we'll do that, and we'll just leave that like that. So the way I give the effect of soapy water is you go to, out of all things, of course you go to water, and then they got all these effects that you can do. But here's a neat effect that I found in the magic section. This right here. So let's go ahead and make it white. So you pretty much, it says toxic gas cloud. But if you shrink it down good enough, and lay it over water, suddenly you have soap suds. And then you go over to the water effect and have the little side thing, and then if you add it just right, now you pretty much soapy water. So let's see, And there's your soap right there. So you can add your bar soap. And as well as you can change the soap suds any color because they're all colorable. So we'll just go ahead and put the soap here. And maybe they have a towel, so... And we'll go ahead and, for added effect, to make really bring it home as far as this is where you wash dishes at, we'll go ahead and add a pitcher over here. We're going to make it wood. And then we'll add maybe some plates. Go back over here and see the size of them. Okay, these are different plates than those. Okay. And we'll add like 2 plates. And there we go. And for the most part, there's our kitchen. So we got our dining area. And we're going to call this the dining area. So as well as, let's go ahead and put a window in because maybe the kitchen is not too bad. We want a nice window in this place. So you go over to portals. And now if you go down, so you got these 2 little arrow keys, and this is how you move between levels. So if you see page down, page up, or you can just simply click over here where it's the second story, you got ground story. So you can either click on that or do the actual arrow keys. So especially, usually when you have like 2 stories, you can just use the arrow keys. But if you got like 6, 8 stories, it's a lot easier to use this little area over here. So we're going to go down. We're going to see what we added here. So I've got this. Say I want the same thing. So once again, all you do is select, click, and notice it's already up for you. I do believe, yep. So no, I guess not. So with objects you can do that, but not building structures. One day they'll change that, or I'm doing something wrong where I'm not getting it correct. We'll go window here. Maybe there's a window in the front too. That way we have some kind of airflow going on. So up here in the dining area, we'll go ahead and do another window here. And maybe they want a bigger area. So we'll just leave it like that and do a side-by-side thing. So notice sometimes you can put it side by side, but sometimes you can't. So that gets real tricky. So they have that barrier that they add to it. So okay, so we've got our dining area. So let's go ahead and put a table down. And maybe this area is like, they've got some money. You know, they're the only tack and feed store in this village. So there might be like the people from Little House on the Prairie. I can't remember. Nelly. Oh, the Olsons. Maybe they're the Olsons. So go ahead and click on that. That's a pretty good sized table. That is roughly, yeah, that's a huge table. So maybe we don't want it that huge, but we'll want it pretty good size. So we'll go roughly about, yeah, we'll do it that way. Okay, so we're going to make it a nice table. Because right now it's just like an table. So the way I like to make it a nice table is they've got this little, which you can also click on here too. See, they've got already pre-designed stuff, but I'm not a big fan of that little thing, those 2 little knobs sticking up, which is basically the table legs. So what I like to do with a normal table is come over here to this neat little thing called rugs. And then I usually like to use this particular rug right here. maybe it's a light, airy looking place. So a lot of times I'll line it just right, or I sometimes use that rug, or I use multiple rugs actually, to be honest. So we could do 2 of them side by side. Okay, we want to move that one back a little bit. So we'll do that there, maybe that here. Then we'll move the table over. And there we go. Previous tool, and then grab some chairs real quick and place those down. And once again, they've added a whole bunch of new stuff. They got benches now, which you could do benches. So I think we're gonna do benches this time around. So once again, it's over. You just click under, and then now you've got like happy little benches. Fluffy little clouds, happy little benches. And maybe the head at the table, instead of benches for them, they have a nice big chair to sit in. A normal chair even. So we'll do a normal chair. And we'll go ahead and line it just right. Like so. Plop that down here. And we'll plop another one down here. Now we can go over here to, let's see, I think they did. They added cushions. So maybe this one has cushion, that one has cushion. Now let's go ahead and grab both of these. Send back. Okay. So this one, once again, this is where you play with the layers. So we're gonna go ahead and move both these, I think, downward this time around. So we've had everything at 2. That's another thing. You've got to actually go ahead and adjust this because it's not automatic. Put that there. We'll do that as 1. Alright, so we got our table, we got our chairs, got everything like that. Let's go ahead and add some lighting real quick because it's getting close time for me to end. So let me go ahead and show you lighting real quick. So over here, well, let's go ahead and grab an object, and I do believe it's under lighting or illuminations. I think it's lighting. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab, say, our candle holder. It's a huge candle holder. We won't make it that big. So let's go ahead and bring it down. But maybe it's like, you know, a nice centerpiece or something. Oh, actually, let's go ahead and add this neat little feature, which they added 2-3 sessions ago, which is chandeliers. And we'll go ahead and hang that above the table. Bam. Alright, so the way you do illuminations is they have this neat little feature over here simply called effects and light tool. And now you've got lighting, which is huge. So I usually like to crank this puppy down to 1, sometimes 0.5. I usually crank down that as well. Now notice I usually lit a little bit higher than that. So right now you're like, okay, where is everything? So now you can click on widgets, and now you got the little flame. Now you can put your little flame exactly over your candle. This is going to give like a huge light effect just in this one little area. So So now I've got my lighting, I got my shadows going on, as you can see right here and here. And you're like, okay, well, how do I adjust that? So you can simply come over here and click on the lighting tool and come up here to environment, and this is where it gets cool. Notice the color scheme. So not only you can deal with daytime, nighttime, but say you want to go into like this weird creepy effect with the lighting as far as candles, magic, whatever you want to do, or illuminated mushrooms, you know. So you just grab over here in the corner, or you can play with the little knobby things, but I usually like to play around the color wheel. But notice all the different colors that you can choose from as far as what lighting you want. So I crank it down pretty low, and you got windows open, so it's not going to be terribly low, but there you go. So there's your overall field of thing. But when you want to get into your lights themselves, they also have color that you can play with. So say you want to turn on widgets, say you want to put a color, say oh, okay, here we go. Here's a good example. So say my fire's not yellow or something. Say maybe it's more of a reddish color. And also you've got different types. So we'll go ahead and go with this type. Is this more intense inside the actual Potbelly Stove than outside, but it's still giving off illumination. So we'll go ahead and increase the intensity a little bit to 0.5, because it's like a really hot stove. They got a lot of wood up in that puppy. And we'll go ahead and change. As you can see, you can change the lighting. Now it's green, but if you come over here and play with maybe an orangish, reddish, maybe. And once again, you just got to play around with it. Or somewhere in between. There you go. Turn off your widgets. And that's how you do lighting. Well, it is that time. Episode 4, we will continue building our upstairs floor. I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. Hero177, JChill29, Dead Channel Stat, and anybody else that watches this for future shows. So thank you for turning into XP Guild, and stay tuned for the next build. Like I said, we're going to finish this floor up, and then we'll start on the next building. So thanks for tuning into Dave's Doodles, and get ready for episode 4 next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. I'll have that all up on the various XP channel social media things. So thank you, and see you next time.